Now here's the thing that I want you to know from the start here. You don't need to do anything to deserve to feel good. In life, you can feel good for no good reason. And today's session's all about that. Today's session, here today, is about how you take control of your emotions. You see, it's nice to have goals, have dreams and ambitions that you want to go towards and that you want to achieve. And it's great to learn things, to prepare for exams and gain qualifications and things like that. But here's the truth. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't have the confidence to go out there and use all those things, you won't be successful anyway. So today when I say to you, what I'm going to give you is the most important thing I have ever learned, bar nothing. I'm excited today because the information I'm about to give you is the most important information I have, bar none. And you can include in that anything about making money, about buying houses, about chatting up girls, whatever it may be. Out of everything I know, this is the single most important thing. And we're going to have 2 hours. And the first half is going to be about confidence and how to have more of that. And then we're going to take a break. And in the second half, we're going to talk about stress and how to get rid of stress and things like peer group pressure. All right, so that's what today's session is all about. Something sort of like baffled me as time's gone on. Because I've had the privilege of meeting lots and lots of people. And somehow I found that it's not always necessarily the most talented that make it to the top. The most skillful people, the brightest ones, aren't always the ones that are the most successful. Did you know there are more people today that are educated to a degree level that are unemployed? More people educated and unemployed than ever before. So education doesn't guarantee success. It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't. And did you know that at this moment in time, depending on which statistics you happen to believe, by the time you become an adult, there are now 1 in 5 adults at some point in their life will struggle with depression. That's a fact, that is a statistic, depending on which statistics you choose to believe. 1 in 5 becomes depressed at some point during their life. It's a fact, it's a statistic that at this moment in time, 1 in 20 teenagers are struggling with depression. And 1 in 40 of those teenagers are using medically prescribed drugs to help control how they feel, because they're stressed, because they're anxious, because they're worried, because they're depressed. Now, I don't get that. How on earth can we live in a free country where there are a certain set of rules, and so long as you obey those laws of the land, you can go and do anything you like? If we lived in Afghanistan or Baghdad or somewhere like that, I could understand why so many people would be depressed. But we don't. We live in a free country. And yet, by the time we become adults, 1 in 5 get depression at some point in their lives. That doesn't make sense to me. Now, a good friend of mine did a research study, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago. And he did a test of 200 driving instructors. And he asked the question of these driving instructors, how come when you have a student that is ready to pass the driving test, what are the reasons why they still fail? 85% of the people said that the reason why people pass their driving test, the reason why they fail their driving test, isn't because they aren't skillful enough, because if they weren't skillful enough, they wouldn't have put them in. 85% of driving instructors said the reason why their students failed their driving test was because of nerves. In other words, what that means is they didn't know how to control their emotions. They panicked on the day. They worried, they got stressed, they didn't have the confidence and the belief to use the skills they had to pass the test. Now, is it possible that if that's true in driving tests, could the same thing happen in school exams? Could it? Absolutely it could. I know some talented students who are very bright that don't get the best grades they could because they don't believe in themselves, not because they don't have the ability. So today I want to show you how to do confidence. Now, the reason that emotion is really, really important, confidence or whatever that may be, is because how you feel drives your behavior. In other words, the emotions that you have affect your performance. First observed this when I was playing professional football. And you may have observed this in school. Now, there are times where I'd turn up at a game and there'd be a player who would be superb, like the star of the team. And sometimes they'd turn up and they'd play well, and sometimes they'd turn up and they'd have an absolute nightmare. And I thought, why is that? How come that one day they play well and how come another day they don't? They're the same player, they've got the same skills. How come one day they use them and another day they don't? And it's completely to do with their emotions. Think about this. You get a homework assignment on Friday. Friday afternoon, your English tutor says to you, there's this assignment to be done and it needs handing in on Monday morning. You go home on Friday night. And what's the first thing you do? Your homework? You're right. You're out straight away. Clothes change, out of there. And you get to bed at some time that night, or maybe in the morning, all right, and you sleep in on Saturday. And then you wake up on Saturday and you watch a little bit of breakfast TV, and you know you've got that homework assignment to do, but do you feel like doing it? No way. So you don't do it. The phone rings, it's a friend of yours, and they say, oh, you know, we're going in town, we're going to go shopping, do you want to come? Well, let me think. Homework, do I feel like that? Or shopping, do I feel like doing that? Which one shall I do? And 9 times out of 10, we end up going shopping. And then you come home, and the phone rings again in the evening, and it's your mate, and they say, I'm going to the cinema, I'm going to the pictures, go and watch this new film that's come out. And in the back of your head, I know I've got this homework to do, but do I feel like doing it? It's Saturday night. No chance, right? So I'm going to go out, aren't I? And the same thing happens on Sunday. You will do the things you feel like doing. If you don't feel like doing well in your exams, you won't do it. It's not because you can't. It's not because you don't have the ability to succeed. The difference between success and failure is rarely to do with ability. It's usually to do with emotion. Now, all the problems that people have in life, whether that be an eating disorder, whether that be an addiction, whether that be being bullied at school, whether that be failure in exams, whether that be unemployment, whether that be homelessness, will often find themselves rooted in not being able to deal with and control their emotions. Oh, this stuff you're about to get is the most important things I have ever learned, and possibly going to be the most important things you could ever learn. Now, emotion drives your behavior, and there's an interesting thing, because the things that you do will create the results that you get. How you perform creates the results that you get. Is that fair for me to say, yes or no? Is that fair for me to say, yes or no? Okay. How you feel directs how you behave. How you behave directs the results that you get. So what creates your emotions? What creates those emotions? There are 2 things that cause your emotions that you experience. 2 things only. The first thing is your mental focus. Now, you don't have to be taking notes on this. If you want to forget it and not learn how to take control of your emotions, you don't need to take notice of this at all. You don't need to write anything down, all right, or take notes. If you want to remember this stuff and use it to improve your own self-confidence and get rid of stress, then I suggest you take some notes on this. First thing that creates how you feel is your mental focus, what you spend your time thinking about. The second thing are your body patterns. In other words, what you do with your body, how you breathe, how you gesture, how you move, your posture affects how you feel. So how you think and how you move combined create the emotions you experience. Your emotions drive your behaviors, and your behaviors create the results that you get. Are you following me, yes or no?